Okay, as the old T-Mobile ad said, can you hear me now? Hopefully you. All right, we have audio. I don't know why it dropped my webcam microphone, but it did. Hello out there. I hope everybody's doing well. Sorry about the little audio glitch. James, how are you doing? James at Dundas Junction. I'm gonna possibly have to change my streaming software. Prism Live is doing some changes, so the duck may be in play. I don't know. We'll see. David DB Tech, glad to see you here. Joe Rader, glad to see you here, sir. I've got a survey. I'm going to circulate the link to it in a minute about abandoning model projects, and I would be shocked if you, Joe Rader, actually abandoned projects. JP, Beaumont Hill Subdivision, how are you doing, sir? Good to see you. Count, as always, thank you for being out here, being so reliable. Um, really count on you for that help. I don't know if Tammy's still here, but hello, Tammy. I saw she was here earlier in the chat. Thank you. John has posted the link to my survey about abandoning model projects, and we're going to have a little discussion about that um, later on in the show after a couple of other issues covered, a couple of other things have been discussed. Ray, what is going on? I know you said you went to your brothers-in-law, plural. That's interesting. So hope that was a good time. Hot Dog Andy, what is up? Thanks for staying up so late. I know you're in a different time zone. I know what you mean, Dave. Um, Honestly, if you go out and take that survey, and please take that survey that John has put the link out to, it'll literally take you probably 30 seconds to complete. It's only 4 questions long, but there's one question about how many projects you've abandoned. I've completely lost count. I abandon projects all the time. I don't know whether it's ADD or not, but again, we'll talk about abandoning projects and what that means um, during the show in chief. Boy, I'm really glad I logged on early to get that audio problem fixed. Uh, I'm going to be trying some new technology here as well in terms of stream tech. So there's opportunities for additional technical failures later in the show. So we'll see what happens. Gonna try and get my B-roll up on my main screen here. So Prism Live said they were trying to fix the chat here. Uh, they haven't. Ah, okay. So the little chat window I can open. All right. Nice. Sorry, Dan, no rewards except for the potentially interesting results of the survey that I can show. So sorry about that. No cookies. No cookies are kind of a reward. Huh? Let me turn my light on here. There we go. Get a little more light on the subject. If I end up doing some live modeling, I'll need a light. Uh, that undocumented. Oh, in your line of work, Ray, abandoned project is an undocumented feature. I love that. Love that. Hey, JJ, how are you doing? Good to see you. Ed at Happy Valley, what's up, sir? I hope you're doing all right. Glad to see you here. I'm excited about today's show, and I've got a bunch of topics that are interesting to me and hopefully interesting to you as well. I don't have a blurred background today, so you're treated to a view of my first table of my layout and huge stacks of foam that are going to be part of my layout build. Boy, thank you, Count, for getting those out there um, for folks to take. Please take that survey if you can, and I'll share some results during the show, and I'll also share some results either in a video or a community post so that you can see what we're all saying about how many projects we abandoned and why we abandoned. But we will definitely talk about. I don't know. I don't know if it's a contentious topic or it's a topic. Getting close to 8 o'clock, and when I can kick off my formal agenda. But please, again, please hit that link that John has been posting for my survey. It'll take you less than a minute to do. You can while you're watching the show here. How we all. Yes, Steve. Steve, welcome. And yes, I finally got the sound going. Although a part of the show, I'm going to be moving away from my desk to do an unboxing and also to show you another project that's talked about before, but I've made progress. And so I'm not going to have a mobile microphone, so we might have some bad audio during segments. I apologize. Um, should have run a test on that, I guess, but talk a little about that actually right now. Well, 8 o'clock. Welcome to Sidetrack Sunday for Father's Day, June 15th, 2025. So happy Father's Day to all of the fathers out there. I hope you had a great day. I had a good day, and it's capped off by hosting Sidetrack Sunday, so it doesn't really get much better than this. But yes, JP, fresh. Not necessarily. I built it a month or so ago, maybe 2 months ago. I'm planning my next section, but I've got so many projects going on here at the shop, and we'll talk a little bit about that on the shop itself, distracting me from getting work done. Hello, Sparky. How are you doing, sir? Happy Father's Day. Grandpa Rails, JD. Welcome aboard. Happy Father's Day to you too as well. So, I had a great Father's Day. My wife gave me some really nice gifts, which I didn't, and I should have told her not to get me anything. But I will say this: um, if my wife knew me better, shocking after all these decades that she doesn't know me better, frankly. Greatest gift of all probably would have been for her to say, you know what, dear? Why don't you just go to the shop and spend all day at the shop? Get yourself you know, a bad for you lunch, a double bacon cheeseburger and French fries, and just do modeling. Don't work on the building. Don't apply for jobs. Don't do anything like that. Just model. That would have been an unbelievable gift. Still got some really nice things. Thank you for doing the survey, Ed. I appreciate that. Sparky, if you haven't seen the links to the survey, please hit that survey. It'd be really quick. JD as well. There's a survey out there for you to take. Just look in the chat. John's been posting a link. Love to have you respond to that survey. So, Father's Day. I have one more thing to say about Father's Day. That is, I'm really proud. I think I did a decent job as a father. um, and I love my boys, but it's not how I define myself. And we have a family friend who, like me, had a career in the mortgage industry. He was the CFO of a variety of companies. And after he retired, I asked him, how do you define yourself? What do you do now that you're retired? And he said, I'm grandpa. And, at the time I said, oh, cool. But I was thinking to myself, not cool. I don't just want to be grandpa, and I am a grandpa now. And it's great to be grandpa. But everybody here on this live stream right now is more than just dad or grandpa. You're also a creator, a modeler, and so I'm really proud to be part of the community because we are supporting each other, uh, that part of our identity, and that's really cool. Love that. So thank you for helping me to work on that part of my life and my identity. I do appreciate. Let's see. James, when you said the survey is closed, not available any longer, the link isn't working, let me know. What does that mean? I'll admit that was so. If you haven't taken the survey, maybe there's a limit on the number of people, on the free version of the survey software. I'll admit I just created the survey before the show. So we'll go out there. Thank you for those who filled it out. For those who haven't, I'll try and open it up later and I'll put a community post out there, um, to let you get into it. I don't want to take the time right now to figure out the survey software going on right now in this. Uh, all right, I hear you, Sparky. I'm working on my wife about going to the. Got a ton of trips planned, breaking the bank on all these trips. I have a feeling she would rather go see her grandbaby than go to Canada. Now, I might be able to come by myself. We'll see. So, the next thing on my agenda, really quickly, is the U.S. Open. I did go to the U.S. Open golf tournament on Thursday, just gallery tickets. And that was a really interesting experience. So, if you've never had a chance to go to a professional golf tournament, even if you don't play golf, I think it's kind of an interesting thing. And by the way, I do not play golf, but I thought it would be nice to give my wife that experience. She loved it, hanging out with a lot of rich people. As she said, "Boy, everybody is so happy here, so friendly." Well, they're at a major sporting event, and they probably have money. It I'm just checking the chat to see if there's anybody who's joined who I haven't recognized. We'll see. We'll see, Sparky. Don't give up. Don't give up a hope on me coming to the meet and greet. It's 5 hour drive away. I just have to see whether my wife wants to. Never been to Canada, so she might want to just check Canada off her list. So we'll have to see. Um, but don't save a seat on the dining car. Okay, JP, I see showing up. Hey, look, I'm actually in pretty good shape. You can see I'm stretching the shirt out at this. Uh, but so I do recommend going to a golf tournament. That's all I'm going to say about the U.S. Open. Now I'm going to switch over. I want to show you all. I don't see any pictures of shop pro. Ah, yes. Correct. Pictures of my shop project in uh, folder. Now I'm going to folder. So let me know if you, hopefully you all can see the folder here with a lot of pictures in it. And I'm going to bring up a picture of the latest project here at the shop, just quickly what I've been working on. So, Almar, welcome. Glad to see you here, sir. So hopefully you all can see this picture of a window in the workshop area of my shop, and that was originally filled by a vent fan. Um, that Yeah, maybe mini golf would get me to come. So at any rate, this was a 24 by 24-inch hole where the vent fan for the machine shop was when the building was first constructed, uh, 19, 1980. And here it is from the outside. I've cut away some of the siding and removed some of the insulation in order to get at that block. Here it is after I removed the block, and I removed this block um, with essentially I had an angle grinder and with a blade, a concrete blade, and I cut through that some of it that way, and then I ended up using old chisel. You can see a reciprocating saw down there on the floor. I used that a little bit, but and here it is from the outside where I've removed the block. I did fill all the cavities in the block with mortar. Steve, I've not been to curling, and I'd love to see that. I'd love to see. So here's the inside view with the window installed. I haven't really gotten much further on the inside here. I need to still frame it around, and then I'm going to have to wall border. But here's what the window looks on the outside, completely installed with some trim around it, a J channel, and the vinyl siding reattached. There's fixed after this. So big project, but that's kind of where a lot of my energy has gone this month, unfortunately, not towards modeling. Fortunately, getting close. I've got a lot of finish work in there in the walls. I've got electrical work to do as well. I've got to keep working on the workshop. I feel like getting the workshop done is important. I have the workshop done, get a lot of things off the floor. Hopefully, I can get my airbrush set up in there and get my spray booth set up, and I can really start getting some stuff done. But I still have ceilings to finish, electrical work to do, painting, trim carpentry. Oh, there's a good amount of. Hello, Anthony at Georgia Sunbelt. Good to see you here, sir. I hope you had a great Father's Day. All right. So let's see. The next thing on my list is I'm going to try and utilize a little camera here. So I've got this 360 Insta 360 action. See this little black area pops out, and it's like a little small thing you can clip to a hat. It will not work for a webcam, however, to do that. I have to keep it in this case. I have to keep it tethered to the computer. But I'm going to try and get this view from the camera visible for you. Hopefully, it's working. There we go. All right. Sorry if that's giving you an upset stomach. All right. If I can turn this a little bit. Pausing for technical difficulty. Oh, now you got a good view of my shop. Uh, Now, it's only going to be here for a few moments, so I didn't want to set up a tripod. I could have set up a tripod, but I figured I would just. So, my next topic is workbench surfaces. And uh, I got to give credit where credit's due. This is not my idea, but Adam Savage is a tested YouTube channel. Which, if you're not already subscribed to that channel, I highly recommend it. He covers a lot of modeling related topics. Um, and one of the things that he was doing in one of his most recent video, I think it's his most recent video, he was doing a uh, higher workbench surface using what's called UHMW plastic, which is ultra high molecular weight plastic. And, it's, I'm what the P part of it is. But at any rate, it's similar to polyethylene. So it's ultra high molecular weight polyethylene. Okay. So you're probably have seen cutting boards like this that are white plastic material and are pretty impervious to cutting. And these are typically made out of what is called high density polyethylene, not as strong or as um, robust in many ways as uh, UHMW plastic. Um, yeah, good point, JP. I agree. But I'm going to have a separate workshop, so I don't need to use the layout. So this stuff, it's very similar to what Adam Savage was to make his workbench. These, I think they do get marred up by knives eventually. This one I've got is quite old. It's been used a lot. It has a few knife marks on it, but not too many. So it's really kind of a good surface. It won't dull blades. And so the question is that better than the self-healing mat? I think, we all have used these self-healing mats before. Of course, the beauty of the self-healing mat is that it not only self-healing, but it has this grid pattern on it, which can be very useful for aligning things. So, and they're relatively cheap. They're like $30. So, these are good options. Of course, I bought a bunch of these on sale at Joann's, about $30, 25, 30. So I've got a lot of those. So now hopefully not in Human City Junction fashion, Heath at Human City Junction fashion, I am going to do an unboxing. That box standing over there is a sheet of the ultra high molecular weight polyethylene that I ordered from Amazon. It's 24 inch, should be, assuming I got what I ordered. It is 24 by 48 inches black. Wasn't sure whether to get white or black, but I thought, hey, when I'm scratch building, it's a lot of white plastic. Really don't want to have a white work surface. So I went ahead and got the black. But this ultra high molecular weight stuff is resistant to solvents, acids, alkalines, abrasion. It's kind of slippery, though. Um, right, Steve, but stainless steel is going to dull your blades, dull your tools, right? So I'm not sure that's the best choice to use work surface. JP, do you have a video about your workbenches? I'd love to see that stuff and see what you did. I'm going to definitely do workbenches on wheels, and I have a lot of stands on wheels. So I'd like to see. All right, so I'm going to go over here to open this box, and I'll try and be relatively quick about it because I'm sure my audio quality is going to degrade when yeah, I know, Ed. I'm not gonna take as long as as Heath does on an unboxing, but I could. Uh, Dang it, train going by. See now, if this darn Insta360 action camera was attached here to my hat, I would have run outside, and right now we'd be watching the train go by. But I still haven't perfected that kind of mobile technology. I don't know what kind of camera I'm going to need to connect via Bluetooth to the. I guess I need to connect via Bluetooth to the PC in order for you to be outside. I'm hoping to get over that hurdle, and I would love to be able to potentially fly my drone outside and have you all watch the drone. So those are all things that I'll work on in the future. Floyd, I see you've joined. Good to see you, sir. You're just in time for the unboxing of this ultra high molecular weight polyethylene work surface. So I'm going to go over here. I'll keep talking. Apologies if the audio gets crappy, but I won't be long, and I'll be back in the audio. So this was less than 100. So it's pretty well wrapped, but there's a few things on. I don't think hurt the actual side, but yeah. Now this quarter-inch thick. I didn't think there was any need to spend money on thicker, pervious, but it's very well wrapped. Got a layer of corrugated cardboard. Well, I'm not sure what kind of surface I was expecting on this, but it is glossy, very shiny. Yeah, I don't slice myself open. Well, it's very smooth surface. Also covered with this plastic membrane. packaging tape was stuck to the membrane. Really didn't want to peel this membrane. One side that's supposed to be clean and the other. Honestly, a quarter-inch thick, robust, not completely straight or flat. So not ideal. I'm going to have to either put her. Okay, so I'm back at the microphone. You're going to have to tell me. Boy, that was not easy. So, how was my audio? Let me know in the comments how my audio was. I will. Um, I'll go back and look in the comments and see if I said anything. Hope you could hear me my commentary. So you can see there's light reflecting off it. It's a very slick surface. Um, Also, certainly um, cuttable with a knife. I hit the edge with my knife real quick just to see how soft it was. Yeah, thank you, JP. Okay, yeah, audio's not. Sorry about that. I'll work on another way. I have, a wireless mic that I might be able to set up and use. I have to say. Um, so it definitely was something that I could carve a little nick off with. So I wonder if I start using it as a cutting surface, whether I'm actually hard up. Now I'm going to see if I can take a little nick out of this cutting board. Same knife. Yes. So I assuming the cutting board is high density um, polyethylene plastic instead of the ultra high molecular weight polyethylene plastic that I have in that black sheet. They both can be cut with a knife. I don't know whether, it might be better if it had some sort of pebbled surface. Wouldn't go. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how that goes. But it's looks like a nice surface to work upon. And quarter-inch thick, I wouldn't say that getting a half-inch thick sheet any more money would be necessary. Um, okay, Ed. So you couldn't hear it at all, huh? All right. Well, I will. I will talk my way through the next project here, and then. So let me switch back. So the next project that I'm going to show you is with respect to this bench here in Esther's Hobbies. Sorry about this cord going in front of my face. Pulling my off the. So Esther's Hobbies is a hobby shop in Millville, Pennsylvania. Um, Anything can be cut with a blowtorch, Ed? Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. Well, I don't, John, at Big Friendly Giant Railroad. Hello. I don't think I saw you in here before. Good to see you. Wasn't a Crocodile Dundee knife, but it is a knife that I love. It's just a folder. I can't remember the manufacturer, but I just love this resin handle, kind of a semi-transparent knife. So it's my everyday. Um, wow, wow, Steve, that sounds like very heavy material. So at any rate, Esther's Hobbies, you can see there's a train set kind of off to the right. They've got the railroad crossing sign. It's a railroad hobby shop. Mostly an end scale hobby shop, actually. They have a pretty big end gauge layout in the basement. And they are, 10 miles away from my house, max, probably less. Um, Started by Esther as a sewing shop. It was converted into a hobby shop by her son, Bob. When I moved to Pennsylvania the first time and got to know Bob, uh, he was in his 90s and still going to the shop every day wearing a suit, wearing a shirt and tie. And he was a great old guy. Now, Bob has passed away, and the shop is now being run by his son, Bob. And so one day I was in there talking to Bob, and I probably told you this story before. And I said, "Boy, I really like the bench outside. I'd love to recreate that bench, just so you know, that's a project on." And he said, "Well, hang on 1 minute." And he ran off and he went downstairs and he found the original template for how this bench was carved. How many years? I don't know. And the bench is such a fixture. It's obviously fixed to the concrete, but it's such a fixture street scene, Millvale, that when you pull into Millvale, there's a mural painted on the wall of the building about all the sights and sounds in Millvale. And this bench is on that mural as well as being on the street. And kind of interesting that with a hobby, that A is a very uniquely formed thing. So, I want to recreate this bench here for my shop. And so, whoops, last picture. And so I got a bench, and so I have the templates. So I'm gonna go back to my camera view here, and you can see the bench there with the templates on it. And so I'll go back there just to give you a sense of scale. I'll tip that relax and kind of see how that is going to come together. Um, Took me a while on Facebook Marketplace to find a bench, and then I think what I'm going to do once this bench is done is I'm going to mount it on the street side, mount it in concrete on the street side of the building where you can sit and watch trains. Ever come to the shop, you'll be able to have a place to watch trains. Trackside Mike, good to see you here. Thanks for stopping by. Happy Father's Day to you as well, sir. All right, so again, this is the bench project. I'll just walk over. I know my sound is going to degrade, but relax. You can kind of see how relaxed with a hobby is get on there, but I'll just show you. I think it's going to work out fine, and I'm just going to trace the letters. I'm going to clamp these wooden forms to the bench, trace the letters, and then I'll just use a Dremel tool to very shallowly carve the letters back of the bench. And I'll repaint everything white and paint the letters red and black as they are in the original. So I'm just going to angle or relax like this. Get it as far over as I cut the over. With have to drop hobby down there, and then I'll put one a fun little project. So again, when you come to the shop, you're all welcome to come to the shop whenever you're in Pennsylvania. Um, you'll have to sit on the bench and watch trains with forced to. So that is that's my topic number 2 and my project number. We'll go back to this view of from the action cam in a little while. If if I start actually working on a project, I've decided to start working tonight. If I run out of my other topics, I am going to. Thank you, Ray. Yeah, it is kind of a cool project, and so far it's cost me $60. I'll probably spend more on paint than I spent on the church pew. And it's that church pew's been sitting outside for a bit already in a semi-covered environment, so it's probably seasoned pretty well. But I'll put a few coats of exterior white on it, and then after I've carved it, probably take a couple hours to carve, right? So shouldn't be too. Um, Let me scan the comments real quick, see if there's anybody I missed who's come on. All right. Well, good for you, being your old man. My kids are all remote from me, so I knew I'd have this day, and I wanted to make sure that the other hosts um, had a chance to, if they couldn't make the show, to I'll take. So on the screen is a podcast, small subjects, big ideas about miniatures and modeling. And I started listening to some of these shows put on by these guys. And, admittedly, it's not model railroading related, but it is modeling related. And they covered two subjects recently that I thought were fascinating. And the first one was, why do we abandon modeling projects? And it was interesting. There's two hosts on this podcast. One guy says he never abandons a project. Probably, I think he said he had one or two projects in his entire life that he hadn't finished. Everything else he finished. I think that's unusual. The other guy, who the guy who finishes everything, he said, "Well, you're a better modeler than me, but I know you don't finish models, finish projects." And that guy kind of hemmed and hawed around and eventually said that the reason he didn't finish projects was because he lost interest. But I just thought it was interesting. I think if you know why you're not finishing projects, then you might be able to finish more and combat that. So I put out that survey. Apologies if you haven't taken the survey yet. I'm going to recirculate the link once I expand the survey. Got closed. I have no idea why it got closed. Probably because it's a free survey tool. I wasn't paying for it, and so it might have a limited number of answers processed. I didn't see that when I obviously. Um, so, but the question is, why do you abandon modeling projects? And so we're going to talk a little bit about that, and then I'm going to talk about a project that I have abandoned, or at least I have stopped working on, and why I've stopped working. Um, but that's the question. And if you want to tell me in the chat which camp you're in, do you finish everything? I mean, I suspect Joe Rader finishes everything he starts. Workspace is incredibly neat and organized, highly productive. But I don't know, Joe, if you're still out there, what's your position on abandoning projects? Hello, Rusty. I see you joined. I'm not sure I said hello. You looks like you just joined. Hello, thanks for joining. We're talking about abandoning model projects. Do we abandon model projects? How many projects do we have that are abandoned? And why do we abandon those projects? So let me know in the chat. Yeah, and Trackside Mike, I'm with you. It's not. I'm doing some house projects, but I'm doing a ton of projects here at the shop. It's really, really frustrating. Um, and by the way, I do have a huge project going on Wednesday of this week. The air conditioning and heating system here that dates back to the late '80s, face of the furnace. 1992 in the case of the air conditioning, being completely replaced. Hey, Johnny Railer, glad to see you here. We are just starting to talk about abandoning model projects. You and I talked about that briefly on your live stream on Friday. And there's a survey that I'm going to recirculate. It's closed right now. Limited responses were possible due to the fact that it was. I'll figure a way to get that recirculated. You don't have to pay for it. Pay for it. The reasons why we have projects. Yeah, so thank you, John. John has posted the link to Small Subjects podcast. They don't really have a official website or anything, but they discussed some interesting ideas, and they had two shows in particular that I wanted to talk about today that triggered things to talk about. So one of those was abandoning projects. Second subject we will cover later is artificial intelligence. Definitely have some things to talk about there. I've talked about it before, and I'm going to keep talking about it. So, the project that I'm going to talk about now is my autonomous track geometry boxcar. Okay, and this is an example of a autonomous track geometry boxcar. Sorry, I'm stumbling on. And I got excited about this because at RPM St. Louis, either last year or year before, this model was present, and it was an outstanding model. It's obviously a model of that kind of waffle-sided boxcar in the previous picture, and it was really well done. These are really cool, and one of the features of that. One of the features of this car and this model is that he has simulated the laser down at the bottom that shines on the track, and I'll show you what I've done to try and achieve that. That's certainly part of the hurdles that stopped me from the project. Why I abandoned. Now, I'm not saying that I have abandoned it completely. I will switch over to show you the actual model in a minute, but let's go through the project. So here's where the project started with an under a decorated plug door boxcar. I was going to do an autonomous, and I am doing an autonomous geometry boxcar for my freelance railroad, the PK&W. So, so here's where it started with this undecorated car. So I made my own decal sheet. See here of this. This is the K&W logo. This is the kind of blank blue for doors, because there's a door in the car that I'm doing, a pedestrian door built into the side of the boxcar. You can see some of the inspection placards. And also, these are the various sizes solar panels to power the car. That's what was on the decal. Another shot of the decal sheet, and you can see that off to the right there, I spray painted the car all white. I sprayed it all silver. I then masked off the roof, as you can see, painted the whole car white. And I did all this before I had the shop. I had no spray booth. So I was just really cobbling things together. This is our dining room table. You can see behind my cutting mat here. So that was certainly a difficult part of the project, was the fact that I was working on the dining room table. And here you can see the car. I've masked off the excess height area, marking area up on the ends of the car. I've masked off the area for the inspection placard. the inspection logo rather, and also the area for the PW livery, herald rather. So this is the airbrush that I was using. I didn't have access to my all of my airbrushes and other stuff was still in storage at this time, and so I used one of these battery powered airbrushes that I got off of Amazon for a couple of bucks. And honestly, I was okay with it. It was fine. Do you all let me know if you all are using an airbrush like this and what you think of it? I really it was fine. I'm not a master airbrusher by any means, and so I liked it. And I thought this would be highly useful around the layout because you can move around the layout and paint track and other things easily with the airbrush, totally portable. So it was pretty. You can see in the upper right hand corner there, I've applied the orange color that is the base color of the peak livery. Applied that to this airbrush up there. See the ends, got a little bit of rough finish, but kind of a quick project. See how I've masked off the roof for it to remain side of the car. At the last minute, I decided to mask off the doors and make those blue, so I masked that off so I wouldn't have to paint over orange. So here is, we're going to get now a little bit into the electronics, and I would love to have Dave uh, talk to me about the electronics. And honestly, I've got to say, this is part of the reason why I abandoned the project. All right, Rusty. I can tell when you're joking. Um, so here you can see I got these little LED lights that are like an inch long. And these plastic, these are plastic pieces that I cut to build a housing around the light because the light needs to be enclosed. One, there is a housing that hangs underneath the car that holds all the measuring equipment, including the lights. But two, I need to make kind of a, you know, kind of a triangular shaped, truncated triangle kind of, um, so that I can house the light in there and only a narrow band of light will pass through onto the tracks. Otherwise, this light hanging down there will cast a huge of light. I need to control that light. So for plastic I cut. And again, I did not have access to my styrene stock. So I used a piece of styrene that came out of one of my wife's plants. That here, so perfectly good. That's a great cost cutting thing. You too can use these to as a source of materials. You can also see up in the left hand corner, kind of underneath my picture here, you can see white area for the door that was left white. That's going to need to be. We'll see that painted. So I picked these up. Let's see what else I have in terms of the electronics. So here are the lights, and I've got them connected to leads to a battery holder through a those leads are going through a strip of styrene that's going to be the top of the box that will mount to the bottom of the car. And here's the light actually being tested. Um, so it's coming along. Unfortunately, that's basically as far as I got with the electronics. Okay, here's a clear picture. So here's the car itself. I'm not sure I need to show you the actual car, but I do have it behind me. And you can see how I've gotten how far I've gotten. I've got the PK&W logo on. I've painted the doors blue. I've got the inspection label on there. I'm not in love with how that turned out. You can see there's a little chipping of the decal above the I and N inspection, chip in the decal. I don't know. When I overcoated these decals, I should have. Yeah, JJ, I think you can, and I think you can use for sale signs, realtor signs. I did look during the last election cycle. I took a look at a lot of election signs. Those were not made from styrene. They were typically made from like a corrugated plastic material. But Mark Stewart over at Stu Structures, he's definitely a good source of information about where to find styrene. Um, so, yeah, Floyd, I mean, I'm not totally happy with how this came out, but, I'm trying to get stuff done. And so I like it. I like it so far, but I need to get back to it. And that's the next project. So, I'm going to rearrange my camera here real quick. I'm rearranging the action cam, flip for the action cam here. Hopefully that'll give you a view of my desktop. Got my camera and other detritus out of the way. All right, and we can take a look at the actual project. All right, not terrible. Branding in effect. So let me grab the. So you can kind of see how that's come out so far. Got the excess height car label on there. Knowing me, that's the better side, and the other side looks worse. Yeah, the other side's got a little more chipping. Again, that can probably be fixed with a little blue paint. I'm not going to be too. You can see there's some chipping around bottom here. Again, I should be able to run some paint along there and cover that out. And this hasn't been sealed or anything. It's just the raw decals on top of the plastic. So, but trying to get her done. Thank you, JP. Hey, all I can say about my figure is if you're young and you don't have a belly, don't get a belly. Because once you get a belly, the abdominal muscles separate and you can't get them to reattach. So you're always going to have a bulge here. So I'm pretty disappointed in that. And yes, Steve, I think I can. Just weather and cover up some of it. So here's how I mounted. I mounted this battery box with two AA batteries in it. Um, and off switch. Yeah, so there's an on-off switch here. I don't know how I'm gonna. It does fit inside the car, so this does mount inside the car, and I won't put a plate weight in here to weight the car. It's more batteries weigh more than the plate itself. Um, and I've drilled a hole. I'm going to install a little. I'm going to super glue a piece of wire to this switch that goes down through this hole. You're probably not going to be able to see, but I drilled a small hole right there. And I'm going to pass that wire through there, and then I'll just use that to pull it up and down to turn the power on and off. So I don't have to take the top off the car on a frequent basis in order to make it operate. And here are the leads coming out of the floor plate of the car that are going to attach to the simulated laser light. So it's coming along, but I need to, yeah, there you go, JP. I could probably have a less of a belly if I lost some weight, but eating is one of my main pleasures. I have this argument with the doctor. Yes, JJ, I probably could use a reed switch, and I've got a reed switch, but I'm not gonna. At the time, I didn't have access to my soldering gun, soldering materials, any of my electronic components. I was ordering stuff in order to get this project done. So I went on the whatever I could get done on the kitchen table. So that's what I did. Here you can see some of the. This is the solar panel decals. So I didn't spend a lot of time cleaning up, like there's this mold release area on the top of the boxcar. I'm going to cover that up with a solar panel. Not going to get too worried about it. There'll have to be some wiring along the top of the car. And you'll notice here, this side has got this blue area. This side does not. That's because there is a door, a pedestrian door that is cut into the side of these cars, some of these cars. And so, right, JJ, that's a good point. Not having right tools can delay a project. And so I just used a dark blue decal to fill this in. I'll have to put a little handle detail on there. But that's kind of a doorway into the car for people to access the car. Car has got the testing equipment inside, and it also typically has concrete or something inside to simulate a load because they want to measure how the track is performing under load. So, but they need to access the car to access the equipment. But otherwise, this is an autonomous track geometry car. And I did do an entire video about this if you were curious about what these look like and what they are. But it's autonomous. It's got solar power powering the measuring equipment. It has cellular technology transmitting the data out of the car to the railroad. So, so that's so it's autonomous. It just runs around the system, checking the rails. So kind of cool. I thought it'd be interesting to have one for my railroad. So, but this is a currently abandoned project. So if somebody, I'll scan through the comments here. The reed switch is a good idea, and I think I have some of those in stock to turn it on and off with a magnet. Okay, JP, thanks for that tip about the 2028 battery. I realized after I'd installed this crazy battery that there's probably a button battery that would be fine, given the amount of time that I'm going to run this. So I probably could do that. But given how far along I am with this AA or AAA, what is it, AA, I'll probably keep it that way. But at any rate, thanks for the encouragement on this project, and I do need to pick this back up and do it. Boxcar Jerry has been giving me some justified pressure about finishing this project. Sorry, I needed to wet my whistle there and get a little high fructose corn syrup in. You can see here is my agenda for today, and in light of the hour, almost at the hour, I'm gonna go to another modeling project instead of talking about AI and modeling. And at the end of the show, I want to talk about 3D printers. I need to be educated by you all in chat about that. So let me get rid of this. All right. Now, the next project I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to temporarily go to my photos here, is here's some. I want to see if I have any pictures. Well, I do have pictures. So when I was rail fanning in Saginaw, Texas, the BNSF installed new signal boxes, signal sheds, yard there at Saginaw when they took out the old historic diamonds, and they were brand new and super shiny. Well, Sparky, I'll in answer to Sparky's question, which I wasn't going to delve too deeply into this, but the AI that I'm going to recommend that you take a look at is called Meshy, Meshy, Meshy. I believe it's Meshy.ai. And that is a AI engine that will, based on images or even a language, a text description, will generate a printable 3D model. And the initial report I heard from one respected source is that it's good result. So Meshy AI. And I think you can figure it out, Sparky. Just get a free account at Meshy, a free account at ChatGPT, and start using AI. You'll be glad you did. It's better than a Google search for finding certain things, finding a lot of things, and much more usable results. And you've got the image generation capability with ChatGPT, but you can just use it as a search engine, and it's pretty powerful stuff. And it comes up with better, oftentimes, answers. Not always better. Sometimes it's terrible. So this project is to do a bunch of these shiny silver signal sheds. I'd never seen them unpainted like this. You can see they're already starting to weather on the one side, which is kind of cool. But I thought I would go ahead and make some of these. JJ, it sounds like you know a lot about AI, so I should probably be talking to you. Okay, so that's the project, is to build these shiny signal sheds. So I got a bunch of signal sheds, and I apologize. I don't have information on manufacturers of these. These particular ones here were 3D printed. I want to say like a company called like 3D Central or something. These were outstanding. I will do a video on this. These here were kits that had to be put together. And what I was doing here was I was testing various ways of getting a natural metal finish. And so, and the various methods I was trying were one, just silver paint, silver spray paint. This is out of a rattle can. And so this one here is just painted with silver paint. And honestly, it's not bad. And given the amount of work involved on the other methods, I think I might recommend silver if you simulate a brand new signal. By the way, the BNSF calls them signal bungalows. So another method that I tried was to actually apply cheap aluminum foil to the model. Oh, it's kind of reflecting the light. Sorry about that. So that's what this one is here. And not bad. It's there are some, it come out perfectly. What I used for adhesive uh, is I used metal foil adhesive that's available from a craft store. And that may have been part of the problem with why this went on. The adhesive was not created. There was some adhesive visible underneath the surface of the foil. Kind of see there's some irregularities and bumpiness. This is the aluminum foil I used, dollar store. Cheap, therefore I assumed thin, best stuff for this particular application. Now, yeah, I don't know, Floyd. I didn't have chrome paint at the time. These are HO, JP. They're actually HO signal shifts. Only see them in relation to my hand. Yes, this is a rather large signal shift, but it is HO scale. Um, and I didn't have chrome paint. Again, I was working on my kitchen table. I didn't have a lot of my supplies. I still haven't been able to find my paint brushes. So, but I wanted to show you this is uh, absolute best one. Best one. You can see all of the details came through the foil. And this is bare metal foil. That's the name of the product. You'll get that at a lot of hobby stores. It's used by car modelers to make chrome bumpers and things like that. Um, and it it's also used by airplane modelers. And you know, JP, you mentioned chrome paint. That would be something I would try to do, like all clad or one of those spray on metal finishes. That would be another option. But again, I didn't have access to an airbrush, so I went with a foil. But I've got to tell you, this bare metal foil example, I mean, you can, I don't know if you can see how clean that is. I just put a fingerprint, but it is, it's really clean. This is outstanding. This is definitely better than silver paint. Um, so this really came out very, very well. If you wanted to do the project, I would recommend. Now, I struggled mightily to find some other pictures of signal sheds that are heavily weathered. There's some right here, not half a mile away from the shop, and they are rusted, almost black looking in appearance, really nasty looking. And I could certainly see doing some of these that way as well. But, but yeah, these are these 3D central casting sheds, and they are outstanding. Are outstanding. All right. So that's my second modeling project. I'll try and get a video out about this shortly, just so that you all don't have to. Please watch to improve my watch time, but I don't think I'll be adding much more to it than what you see. And this, by the way, I do have a big workbench in the back of this big area here, and that's where I do most of my work now. Not here at this. This is my video production area, my job search area, that sort of thing. Yeah, Chrome pens. I wondered about that, Steve. You think Chrome pens, you could do a fairly large flat surface area and get a uniform application of the Chrome? That would be my question. Get this got a better. I was really happy with how this came out. The details on this all came out the hand. It really came. Hey Ron, at Southwest Railroad. How are you doing, sir? Glad to see you here. I didn't see you come in. Glad to see you stopping by. So all right, let me we're at 8 minutes after the hour. Gonna try and start winding down. So, just to go back real quickly to AI and modeling, because Sparky, although I think he may be baiting me about uh, familiarity with AI. But the issue with AI, and again, there is a podcast, that Small Subjects podcast that John shared the link to, and that I had their artwork up earlier. They have a podcast on AI and modeling, and I recommend you listening to that. They had a guy on there who is much more knowledgeable than me about AI. He works in the tech industry, and he uses AI as well as 3D. And so that's very educational. I recommend doing that. Thank you, Ed. I enjoyed having you here. Um, and I think AI, over big picture, okay? There's a lot of things, technology that's come into our hobby, and we thought, oh my gosh, the hobby is over. Certainly, the most recent one is 3D printing. How are we going to tell the difference between a contest model that goes on the table that was scratch built with styrene versus one that was printed on a 3D printer? And is that okay? And part of the reason we said it was okay was, hey, well, they had to make the 3D model. Well, now with Meshy AI, and I'm sure others, they don't have to even make the model. I'm happy for that because I don't want to have to learn 3D modeling. But we're going to have to adapt to these changes. But I think I'm sorry, I'm just trying to catch up on chats. What's going on? But so one, I don't want to be scared of AI. There's lots of things that have happened in life and in modeling that we thought, oh no, it's going to ruin the hobby. And it changed the hobby, but it didn't ruin it. And so I hopefully AI will be that same. And so some of the pros are that you'll be able to do things that you couldn't do before. And you'll free your time up to do the things that you really want to do and let the machines do the things that the machines can. Now, of course, there may be some overlap there. You may enjoy fabricating things with styrene, and a 3D printer can also do that. Well, keep fabricating things with styrene because you enjoy doing that, and that's what you need to do. So I guess, and I'm kind of rambling here, and I apologize, but look, when cameras came out, before that, painters were doing all image creation, right? If you wanted to record something, you had to have a painting or a drawing of it. I'm sure when photography came, some painters lost their jobs, and there was, ooh, no, paintings are going to be gone forever. Not gone forever. There are still plenty of paintings being done. Everything has not become okay. So I think can't right. Thanks, JJ. Agreed, Ed. And so, why are you in the hobby? Why are you in the hobby? And how can you use AI to get to the things that you like to do and that you want to do faster, right? So maybe 3D printers can print a tiny chain for you that you can then use on your model, and you don't have to source it. You don't have to. Same thing with figures. Maybe 3D printing will ultimately be able to print a figure in color. And all you're going to have to do is maybe touch it up, weather it a little bit, maybe not even that. But if figures aren't your thing, that's wonderful. And if figures are your thing, just print them in white and paint them, or sculpt them by hand if that's what you want to do and you're working on a larger scale. Do what you want to do. So that's the pros. The cons are that you will, you're going to be hard to tell the difference between what was 3D printed, what was created by AI, and what was not. And I'm sure that Neil deGrasse Tyson said, when AI can start doing programming, we will never be able to trust what we see on the internet. Well, we're already seeing that. I'm seeing posts on social media of historic photographs, black and white photographs, are obviously AI. Too good, the actual historic photo. So, did that image support the story? Maybe, but I don't know. Not necessarily to. But at any event, but I think that meshy AI is a sign of where we're going. It can create STL files, print. So I do not remember those, JJ, the Army man printing. But well, Ron, I don't know how much of this. Sorry, I don't know why my camera focusing. Um, ultimately, when machines are doing all of the work, there are social scientists who say we could just end up establishing a minimum income available for all humans, and humans will have to find creative work to do. They won't have to pick up the trash or make anything. They can do creative work, thinking, planning, building model railroads. They can painting, drawing, writing poetry, that sort of thing. That's way in the future. That's way in the future. Now I just want to, yeah, and also keep this in mind about AI at all times. Until you're sure that what you're producing on AI is your intellectual property, you have to assume that what you're producing on AI is public domain. So if you are having Meshy AI build a 3D model for you to print something, you want to sell that, that model is out there in the public domain. Anybody else finds it, they can print it. So just keep that in mind about AI. Of course, if you have AI that is protected, doesn't use public domain information, guess what? It stinks. It's bad AI because it doesn't have access to the full universe of information in order to make what it. Um, so that's the limitation. So, so I ended up talking a little bit about AI. So let me tell you, I talked to you one more thing about AI. The guy who did the test of Meshy AI was Mike at Plastic Model Mojo. I've talked about that podcast before. And what Mike did is he went on to Meshy AI and he asked Meshy AI, and I won't have his full text prompt, but he did a text prompt, no images. And he said, Meshy AI, please create a printable 3D model for me of the figure of a World War II Soviet Army infantry directing traffic and wearing a summer 1942 to 1943 pattern uniform, something close to that. Not getting the reference exactly right. That's the kind of detail he gave in the prompt. He said he got a usable print out of it. So that means that we should be able to get usable prints of figures out of Meshy AI. Say, give me a figure of an overweight man wearing railroad coveralls and a railroad hat, um, and boots, and holding an oil can or a shovel or whatever you want, and boom, should be able to produce that figure right now. So, um, so that is really cool, in my view. That is really cool. Now, if you expect your figure to be your property, but but you'd have a figure for your layout. I did. I think all of us here have a foot in both the YouTube/video creation camp and in the training. You too, because your last video on the incline is outstanding. And anybody on here who hasn't watched Dave's video about the incline, one of the inclines here in Pittsburgh, and the model that he's creating, he's already got a model of it, but he's creating one for somebody else. It's an excellent step-by-step video, quite outstanding. And for those of you who are not using AI at all, I would say you should be. um, and in my experience, I make some thumbnails using AI, and it saves me a ton of time. Thanks, Johnny. Thanks for being here. Sorry I was such a blowhard on your last live stream. um, there you go, Rusty. That might be me in that figure. Yeah, there you go, JP. See that's maybe you could get that done eventually. And there is some color printing going on now, but get that done. But I use AI to make thumbnails, and sometimes it really saves me a ton of time. Sometimes it absolutely doesn't work. So the thumbnail that I did for my recent video about Frank Lloyd Wright's compression and concepts and how that can be in our hobby. I made that on AI and it came out almost perfectly the first time. I had to tweak it with one additional prompt and it was done. It took me 5 minutes. I had tried to set that up using my own stuff, modifying free pictures I got off the internet. I mean, it would have taken me hours to make. So it was really good. I also did a side by side test of the thumbnails for my 151 coffee shop build video. I did a A/B test. One thumbnail created by AI, one and a picture of the actual model. It was a dead heat, and I can tell you, a lot easier to do AI. So, although it did start with a photograph of the model, but AI was a lot easier. So, it can save you a lot of time. Now, I've also had some problems. I'm doing a video on this tool, which is a hand stabilizer. This thing kind of stabilizes your hand. You have shaky hands like I do. So I've started using AI to make that thumbnail, and it didn't do a bad job of making a cartoon image of a man with a paintbrush in his hand that was shaking. And I asked AI to make it look more like me. I didn't start with a photograph of me, which probably would have worked better. But I just said, hey, AI, add a mustache and a beard, a gray mustache and beard to this man. And it said, okay, I'm adding a gray mustache and a beard. And the image it produced had a mustache and a beard floating in space. It wasn't on the man's face. I guess I needed to say, please put the mustache and beard on the face of the man in the above image. I don't know, but that was just ridiculous, right? I also AI tends to give European model freight cars. Why that is with their bumper configuration. So I asked AI, please change the freight car that's in the man's hand from a European style freight car to American style. And what it did was it put a rectangular thing right across the face of the guy in the photograph. Not even a car. And I think it had UP or something. That was the American style freight car that it. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. So, but at any rate, that's my experience with AI, and I do think it's worth playing with, and it is free. I mean, I'm paying for ChatGPT. I use it every week at least, and so I feel like I'm getting my money's worth. But it is free, and Meshi AI has free as well. I don't think I never speak a prompt to AI, Rusty, so it might have an issue. Sure, you have a cool Louisiana, but I always type my language text, my text prompts. I always type them. It probably does have speech to text functionality to allow you to do that. I don't know, JJ, but I'm tempted to say that it was uh, AI that won and was talking smack. ChatGPT. I don't think an Atari has the ability to talk smack. All right, I'm catching up on. So Steve, 87th. Oh, I see. You said I should end the stream because he made it in. Hi, Stormy. Stormy Sky. I see you're just getting in here. I see, Rusty. Oh, yeah, that's interesting. Jay. Yeah, it's interesting how these AI models have their areas of expertise, right? So there's a particular AI that has been recommended to do faces, and it really specializes in faces. Because you'll notice when you use AI image generation, faces are not quite right. When you see stuff on social media and it's supposed to be Keanu Reeves, say, I can tell they made that to be Keanu Reeves. Doesn't. So there is, it, but there's an AI that specializes in faces, and if you put in put in 100 photographs of your face, it'll do a much better job of giving uh, a generated image of your face. Guess what? Now your face is out there in the public domain. Have control over the I generate that. All right. So we are now at where are we on time? 9:30. So just about 9:30. I am going to end the stream now. Sorry, Stormy. I know you just got on board, and I appreciate the fact that a lot of you are out here, still in the chat, still enjoying the live stream. I really appreciate. as I said earlier in the stream, this is a great group of creative people who were very encouraging, and I'm thankful every day for Ray, John, Brian, Dave, who got me involved in STS. I really, I hope you enjoyed the stream. Feel free to give me some comments anytime, anywhere about things better. Um, but until next time, I'm going to go ahead and sign off, and I hope you make it a great week. And I will see you in chat on other live streams during the week. Thanks again, and have an awesome night. Bye bye.